3 children were returned to their homes. In 1999, Lahore police were busy with their daily duties. While checking their mailbox, they received a letter containing a terrifying confession. "My count ends at 100. My mission is complete here. My message will reach the entire world. I will make hundreds weep. I will send their children to the next world without shrouds, into the gutter." The letter included the names and addresses of 11 victims, detailing how each was murdered. It also described how long it took for acid to dissolve their bodies. At the end of the letter, an address was provided: 16B Ravi Road. Deputy Superintendent of Police Tariq, along with some officers, went to the address. Upon knocking on the door, a man named Javed Iqbal, aged 38, came out. The police asked him questions about the letter and demanded further details. Javed's demeanor shifted completely. He pointed a gun at his head and threatened to kill himself if the police didn't leave immediately. Without further probing or searching the house, the police left, thinking it was a joke. They doubted that this man could have killed 100 children. Shocking discovery. Outside the Daily Jang newspaper office, a package was delivered and handed to Jamil Chishti, a crime reporter. Upon opening the package, Chishti found photos of children and a note written on a severed hand. "Today, I completed my goal of killing 100 children. Enclosed are the photos of all my victims. I want you to inform the world through your newspaper about what I've done. I'm also giving you my diary, which contains a complete confession of my crimes. You will find all evidence at my house, and when you see it, the entire world will be shaken." Chishti was faced with 2 possibilities. Either Javed Iqbal was being framed, or he had truly committed these heinous crimes. Without wasting time, Chishti went to the house. However, the door was locked. Entering through the wall, Chishti discovered 85 pairs of children's shoes and a bag containing children's clothes. In another room, there were drums of acid emitting a foul smell. Upon opening the drums, Chishti found remains that sent chills down his spine. His hands were burned from the acid as he uncovered decomposed bodies. On the walls, cards were pasted with details of the victims. Some bodies were left partially dissolved to preserve evidence, for the nation in shock. When the newspaper published the story along with the names and addresses of 57 children, panic spread across Lahore. Parents gathered outside Javed's house, demanding answers. Schools were shut down, and parents stopped sending their children out of fear. Out of the 100 victims, only 57 photos could be identified. Most of the bodies had dissolved completely in acid. On December 29, 1999, the police launched the largest manhunt in Pakistan's history. Javed Iqbal, on the run, turned himself in at the Daily Jang office. Entering the newsroom, he declared, "I am Javed Iqbal, the killer of 100 children. I hate this world, and I have no regrets about what I've done. I am ready to face punishment." Javed gave journalists every gruesome detail of his crimes, explaining his motives. He claimed, "Even today, I had enough money to continue this series of killings. Some of the children I kidnapped were returned to their homes." Javed Iqbal's background. Javed was the 6th child of a wealthy family. According to his brother, he was highly intelligent, but grew aggressive due to constant comparisons with his siblings. Over time, Javed began causing problems for his family. He would often wake everyone at night, forcing them to stand in line as he scolded them. After graduating from Islamia College, his father set up a steel business for him. Javed predominantly hired children, not only because they were paid less, but because he was sexually attracted to them. Despite his pedophilic tendencies, Javed married twice, but both marriages lasted only a year. By 1997, Javed faced financial crises due to the expenses of attracting children. He sold his property and moved to Lahore, settling near Data Darbar, a place frequented by homeless children. Posing as a benefactor, he would lure children with food and shelter, only to subject them to abuse, or the turning point. Javed's hatred for the world peaked when an 18-year-old boy, whom he brought home from Data Darbar, attacked him. The boy struck Javed with a rifle handle while he was asleep, alerting the neighborhood. Police intervened, and Javed was charged with rape. Javed claimed that the police brutality during his interrogation broke him. They crushed my head, and I could barely walk after the torture. My family abandoned me, except for my mother, who wept for me. I vowed to make 100 mothers cry the same way my mother cried for me. A sentence like no other. In February 2000, Javed and his 3 accomplices were formally charged. In court, Javed claimed his confession was a ploy to highlight the plight of street children. Later, he contradicted himself, accusing others of committing the murders. Despite his changing statements, the court delivered an unprecedented sentence. Javed was to be strangled with the same chains he used on his victims, his body cut into 100 pieces and dissolved in acid. The verdict shocked the nation and drew widespread condemnation from human rights groups. Or a final mystery. On October 9, 2001, Javed and one of his accomplices, Sajid, were found dead in their cells. They had reportedly hanged themselves using their clothes. However, the CCTV cameras were conveniently non-operational, and guards claimed to have been asleep. This led to speculation that the two were murdered to silence them. Even decades later, the trauma of this case remains raw. The brutality of Javed's crimes continues to haunt the nation, serving as a stark reminder of the failures within the system that allowed such horrors to unfold.